They say the night hides more than shadows. It hides the truth.
Welcome to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where real crimes, true horrors, and restless spirits speak through the silence. Listen closely, because sometimes the whispers are real.
Some houses don't wait for you to come back. They remember you, quietly, in the way old wood remembers footsteps and dust remembers light. I never meant to see the place again. When I left 20 years ago, I thought I was shutting that door for good. But memory doesn't seal like wood. It breathes. It seeps through cracks you don't notice until it's already around you. It waits in the cracks of paint and the smell of wet timber and the silence that never quite sounds empty. When my sister called to tell me the house had finally been sold, I thought I felt relief. It meant the end of something, some strange pull that place had over us. But then she said they needed me to sign off on a few documents in person, that it would only take a day. And just like that, the road started drawing me back. "Just drive up, sign the papers, take one last look," she said. I told her I didn't need to look. But later that night I dreamed of the hallway light turning itself on, the switch clicking softly in the dark, and when I woke, I knew I'd go. The road there hadn't changed much, a single lane curling through fields that looked bleached by time. The closer I got, the more the air thickened, the way air does before a storm. When I saw the roofline between the trees, my chest tightened. The paint had peeled to gray, the porch sagged like it was tired of holding itself up. But the shape of it, those 3 windows facing the road, looked exactly the same. It was like the house had been waiting, holding its breath. The front door gave when I touched it, slow, reluctant. Inside, everything smelled of old rain and plaster dust. The air had that heavy hush old houses keep, like sound itself doesn't want to disturb the memories. I told myself I'd only look around. 5 minutes, nothing more. Yet I found my hand sliding along the hallway wall the way it used to when I was a boy, tracing the nail heads under the wallpaper. Halfway down, the lights flickered. I froze, then remembered there shouldn't have been power at all. I called out, half a laugh in my throat. No answer, of course. Still, I felt the same childish unease crawl up my spine. Every board underfoot groaned like it was thinking about me. In the kitchen, the wallpaper had peeled to expose faint outlines, shapes where frames once hung. When I blinked, I almost saw them still there. My mother's calendar, a photo of my father on the back porch. I closed my eyes until the image faded. The living room had the same tall mirror above the mantel. I didn't want to look into it, but you always do, don't you? My reflection seemed a little delayed, like the glass was remembering how to imitate me. When I moved closer, the air near it felt cooler, denser. Then I heard something soft, a single creak from upstairs, weight on a step. I told myself the wood was just shifting, but every few seconds came another, deliberate, like someone pacing slowly back and forth above me. I should have left. Instead, I whispered my sister's name, even though she was 3 hours away. The sound of my voice didn't echo. It stopped, absorbed by the air. That was when I realized the pacing had stopped too. I forced myself up the staircase. Each step felt higher than I remembered. The hallway above was dim, the curtains drawn, though I hadn't touched them. At the end, my old bedroom door stood open. Inside, dust covered everything except the middle of the floor, a perfect circle clear of ash and dirt. It looked freshly swept. In the center lay one thing, a cassette tape. Unlabeled, the plastic yellowed with age. We never owned a tape recorder. I knelt, picked it up, and for a moment I thought I heard faint whispering through the plastic shell, like someone had trapped a breath inside it. I almost laughed at myself. I slipped it into my pocket. That's when the smell hit me. Not rot, not mold, something sweet, like lilac and static together. The air shimmered, and for the briefest moment I heard a sound that made no sense. My own voice, older, tired, saying my name. Then it was gone. I turned to leave, but the hallway wasn't right. There were too many doors. I counted 5 before realizing there had only ever been 3. The new doors looked identical, but their doorknobs were warm, as if recently touched. From behind one came a slow knock, 3 times. I didn't open it. I just whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. Then the faint scrape of something against wood, tracing my words. I backed away until I felt the staircase banister. When I looked down, the bottom of the stairs wasn't dark anymore. The front door stood open. Outside, daylight had faded, even though I'd only been there an hour. I hurried down, nearly tripping. At the door I stopped. The ports beyond looked the same, but the trees were wrong. Bare, black silhouettes against a pale sky. Wind pressed through the doorway, carrying a whisper that sounded almost human. It said one word, stretched thin. "Stay." I slammed the door. The whisper stopped, but the handle kept turning on its own, like someone testing it from the other side. I ran back into the kitchen, searching for my phone, my keys, anything. The tape in my pocket seemed heavier. When I pulled it out, it was warm. Something in me wanted to play it. Not curiosity, recognition. I rummaged through drawers until I found an old tape player we'd used for family recordings. I shouldn't have, but I did. The tape hissed for a long moment. Then a voice came through. My father's. Calm, methodical. Testing, 1, 2, 11:58. The same phrase he used whenever he recorded his home videos decades ago. Only this voice wasn't a memory. It was happening now, crisp, close, as if he were standing in the next room. Then came breathing, and behind it, another voice, mine, whispering something I couldn't yet make out. I turned the volume up. The voice said, "You came back." Every hair on my neck rose. The breathing on the tape matched mine, perfectly, second for second. I set the player down and backed away. But even after I stopped the tape, the breathing continued from the speaker, from the walls, from everywhere. I dropped the recorder. The house seemed to exhale around me. I stumbled toward the door again, but this time, when I opened it, the outside wasn't the same road. It was the front yard exactly as it looked 20 years ago. Evening light, the sound of cicadas, my father's car in the driveway. And on the porch, a boy about 10 years old, staring at me. He looked like I used to look. He didn't speak, just tilted his head, as if listening to something I couldn't hear. Then, softly, he said, "You shouldn't have come back." I blinked, and he was gone. The yard empty, night full now. The air hummed with the same low frequency as the tape's static. I shut the door again, hard. When I turned, the furniture was different. The house looked as it did in my childhood. Lights glowed from every room, yet I hadn't touched a switch. I could hear faint laughter upstairs, my mother calling dinner, my own younger voice answering. It felt wrong, too precise, like an imitation that had learned its lines. I whispered, "Stop." Everything went silent. Then, one by one, the lights went out down the hall until only the one above me remained. I realized the house wasn't replaying memories. It was remembering me, showing me what it had kept. The walls seemed to pulse, each breath of the structure in sync with mine. I felt my heartbeat in the floorboards. When I tried to leave, the door no longer opened. There was only the faint sound of the tape still turning somewhere deeper inside. I shouted then, the first real sound in hours. My echo came back wrong. Slower. Older. It said, "I never left." I don't remember collapsing. When I woke, the sun was pouring through the windows, and the house looked dead again. Dry, colorless, quiet.
My car waited in the drive. The door opened easily. I walked out without looking back. On the way home, I told myself I'd imagined everything, that memory and grief can make you see things that aren't there. But when I got to my apartment and emptied my pockets, the tape was still with me. I didn't play it. I locked it in a drawer. Every night, just before midnight, I hear the faint click of the play button from somewhere in the dark. Sometimes, I wake to my own voice whispering from the next room, finishing sentences I haven't said yet. The house is hundreds of miles away, but I can smell its walls when it rains. I think that's what it wanted all along, someone to carry it, to keep it alive through memory. Sometimes I swear I can feel it breathing when I close my eyes, a slow rhythm waiting for me to answer. And when I listen closely, past the hiss and the silence, I hear the same words I heard that first night. He's still listening.
You've been listening to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where every truth leaves a scar. If the story unsettled you, good. That means you were listening. Subscribe and stay close to the dark, because the next whisper might be for you.